Hey guys, Akio Murasaki here. There's been a lot going on recently, but today I want to specifically talk about politics in fandoms. Yes. I don't know how you guys feel about this. I am in general extremely negative when it comes to any addition of politics to fandoms, to communities where it doesn't really belong. I in general don't really appreciate it. I wish we could keep it out, but it has been becoming more and more of a thing recently, especially on platforms like Reddit. And especially from kind of, I would say, one side of the aisle, the left side of the aisle is very politicized nowadays. And people who are extremely on the left struggle to perceive the world in anything but politics, in terms of like boxes, in terms of like labels. Like, if you are this, then you need to subscribe to this idea. If you don't agree with this, you're a bad person. It's basically like they're walking for some kind of weird decision tree where they decide if you are worth even, interacting with based on how well you align with their politics, which honestly, the more time off I take, the more I see this as just like very weird and super antisocial and maladjusted behavior in general. But I also noticed that this has become more and more prevalent with young people that very early on have access to the internet. They go on social media, they go let's say on TikTok, for instance, and they just get hammered with opinions. They get hammered with very heavy topics like war in Gaza, for instance, hunger, things, or migration, for instance, things that they have absolutely no knowledge of. They have no way of processing. They have no way to forming like a balanced opinion on, because they have no experience. If you're, I don't know, like 16 or something, what kind of life experience do you even have? When I was 16, I was out there playing with my friends, in the sandbox. No, not really. I was playing ball with my friends, like soccer or something, or I was just running around or playing computer games. I don't know, Age of Empires 2, for instance. That the only politics I was concerned with was in Age of Empires, really, or in other computer games. No, really outside. And so kids nowadays have instant access to the internet. They're being hammered by a lot of different difficult topics, and they feel some kind of like weird necessity to form opinions on things that personally do not affect them, and they have absolutely no reason to talk about, because why would they? Like, come on, like seriously. If you're 16 or if you're 18, do you need to have a very strong opinion on Gaza, for instance, on Iran, on Israel, on the Middle East, on the Far East, on the bigger Asia, on India? Do you really need to have these opinions? No, you do not. Absolutely no one. And also, I just want to emphasize here, no one expects you to have a solid opinion on these topics, okay? No one. If you're a kid, you're scot-free. You can do whatever you want. No one has expectations of that sort. And so it's the weirder that the kids, the young adults nowadays feel the need, some kind of weird pressure to bring these topics into fandoms, into places where they don't belong. And eventually one of these places ends up being the Musume fandom, where you have people like Eve here. Sketch comes open, apparently they're an artist, they have a lot of things going on with their bio, 18 plus. Okay, I'm just gonna assume that they're 18 plus at that point. Hi everyone, it's been brought to my attention that the official Musume Discord server has been silencing any attempts to talk about what's occurring in West Asia. I'm like, West Asia? Like, what do you mean specifically? Like, how is this related to Musume in any way, right? Official Musume Discord server. Shouldn't you be talking about horses, about horse girls? Who's your favorite horse girl? Why are you talking about West Asia? And I'm like looking at this like, what are they even talking about? Okay, tell me anything. I have no idea what this platform even is. I'm sorry if this is random, but you have one of the bigger audiences in the Musume fandom, at least on Twitter. Oh, I see where this is going. So I thought you could bring awareness. The official Musume Discord server has been silencing any attempts on speaking about what happened in Iran and is happening in Gaza. Okay? That's great. You want to be informed. You want to spread awareness. You want to bring awareness. That's good. That's a very important thing, But the problem is, you should be doing this on your own platform. You should be doing it in your own community and not bringing these kind of issues into kind of like a broader, especially gaming community. Because number one, very importantly, this is completely off topic. It's in no way related to Musume, never would be, never should be. Number two, the moment you start bringing in politics into a fandom, into a community, especially in Discord, it's a slippery slope. You allow some of it, more people come in, you eventually turn the entire Discord into turf wars. You turn it into turf wars, into culture war, into some kind of like bipartisan, two-state solution in the Discord of people who agree and disagree. Because again, these views, the people who hold these views, the people who hold this necessity to bring awareness, to spread awareness, these people have very extreme views very often. They have this like package view that they got probably, downloaded from TikTok right into their brains, where they agree with this like A, B, C, D points. But then the moment you disagree with C, it basically means you're supposed to also disagree with A, B, and D. Even though you don't really, like your opinion could be nuanced. But to these people, it doesn't really matter. Therefore, as I said, it turns into a culture war almost instantly. The more you allow people like this person here, to come in, the more you're literally risking a culture war in your community. And as an example, go to freaking Reddit. Go to Reddit, see how it's going right now. It's a complete hot mess. Every single subreddit that was about literally anything, even knitting, okay, has turned into a political stadium. Do you guys really want this? Do you go to these communities to talk about politics 24/7? I really don't think so. I don't think the majority of people want to talk about politics out of Warhammer, in Warhammer. And I'm talking about like current day politics. It's always current day politics. And I know talking about politics is kind of more or less a very US tradition, because I end up seeing some of these things even in game localizations, even as far back as, 1990s or so. In localized Japanese games, I see a lot of these, kind of pseudo-political inserts. But I don't think you should be doing this. You're basically eroding the community instantly. And so, obviously, that person got hammered down by a lot of people. They got community noted in official Musume Discord server. Rule number 2. So not only did they try to make the thing political, but they also did not really read the second rule, which is right under the first rule. Okay, so that's a big failing with reading comprehension, and also par for the course, I have to say. If you know, you know. It is definitely par for the course. Now, what I kind of like a little more are situations like this one with Bonnie the Bunny, who is a guitarist in a band, okay? So they have their own private account. They are proudly Arab and black, and they say, Free Palestine. Okay, I'm not a very big fan of this whole Free Palestine thing. I think it's basically a lot of people being ideologically captured by a movement that was very pro-terrorism. Okay, that is my opinion on that. You might disagree, that's completely fine. I welcome, other opinions as well. I really don't mind this. But the core of the issue remains, okay? So this person has a private account, they talk about this, someone with a decent following here. I feel like it's my responsibility. It really is not. You do not have. You're a person. You're an individual. You have your own life. You do not, in fact, have a responsibility. This is, again, something that has appeared more among young people who, are young, still developing, still trying to find their way in life. And they feel the need to make a difference. They feel a need to leave a mark on the world. And this is how it, manifests. It is my responsibility to use my platform to spread awareness and try to help those in need. I stand with Iran wholeheartedly. Now here are you talking about Iran the people, or are you talking about Iran the regime? Because you really need to pick your words carefully here. Well, let's see. The billionaires, oh sorry, I remember this one. Yeah, this one's incredibly incoherent because they're talking about free Iran, free Palestine, two completely unrelated things. billionaires who kill, eat, and grape children are not those to be sympathetic to. This is completely unrelated to anything. Of course, they have to bring in America and Israel as well. Again, unrelated to anything. I know someone later commented with the kind of this very accurate response. I hate character roleplay accounts that get political so much, man. No, Harurara, I don't want to hear what you think about ICE. I didn't follow you for that. Now, the response is not really apt here, I would say, because Bonnie the Bunny is not really a character, and they're not a gimmick account. But in general, it's a very apt response when it comes to gimmick accounts, because gimmick accounts on Twitter, I'm going to share a bit of my story here. When it comes to Zenless Zone Zero, Zenless Zone Zero as a game has been created by and for lolicons. Okay, let's be honest here. There's a lot of lolly characters. There's Lucy, Piper, Tini, and more recently, Angels of Delusion. The entire faction constitutes of lollies, and you have a lot of them. Now, way before Angels of Delusion even released as a faction as playable characters, a lot of the gimmick accounts for Zenless Zone Zero started having a fit because they couldn't handle the fact that they're glazing and making popularity on a game by sharing like game news and mostly memes and pictures and stuff. They couldn't somehow put together the fact that the game they want to make popular, that they're building their audience on, contains something they hate. And it's actually very well known on Twitter that gimmick accounts betray their audience. They do not align with the audience, and among all of the Zenless Zone Zero gimmick accounts, I think there was only one that remained actually neutral or pro-lollies. Yes, only one. The rest got into all sorts of trouble with the community, and people just said, nah, I'm not gonna follow this. You guys are not Zenless Zone Zero fans, you are just tourists. And that is the reality of the situation. So no, Harurara, I do not want to hear your opinion on ICE. In fact, you can keep that opinion on your private account. Like, honestly. And the reason why I'm saying all of this is because eventually you end up with situations like this on Reddit, where you have, oh my god, March Against Nazis, wow. Then you have some kind of unrelated subreddit that has nothing to do with Star Wars, and then you suddenly have fan art. So all art is political, guys. You have fan art here. I've already taken down one fascist empire. I'm prepared to fight another. And we have Luke Skywalker fighting ICE. Now, how is this related to Star Wars? It's not. And I genuinely would like people not to kind of, misuse fan art for political reasons. But here we are. Yeah. And it just gets worse because this kind of brain rot, it ruins every single fandom. I'm going to be honest. I've seen this happen primarily on Reddit. It's really not worth it for anyone. Because eventually you end up with a situation where the fandom itself is super unwelcoming to anyone who holds even a remotely moderate opinion. And that's simply the truth. There's a couple of other topics I want to cover, not in this video, in the next one. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about fandoms and other things that have been happening recently that do actually impact also like gaming, anime and stuff, and also, of course, reaction videos that I promised. But for now, that is it. And I see you guys in the next one. Mata ne!